Are we live? We're not? I don't think so. That's a part of the waiting game. I think we're live now. Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to day 14, I believe, of Elsie Lincoln Benedict's How to Get Anything You Want. These are live readings that I do. I love doing these. So we are on video number 14. So I I number all of these readings so you can follow along with this in this book with me. Let me go ahead and go over to my Zoom. Here we go. So this is the book that I am reading, How to Get Anything You Want by Elsie Lincoln Benedict. This book was written in 1923, I believe. Yes, 1923. And she is an amazing woman. I love her so much. She has great metaphors. I speak metaphor. My love language is metaphor. And so is hers, apparently. So we left off yesterday with poor Mary letting the negative thoughts into her subconscious mind of people telling her that she didn't look very well. Mary was living her best life. But when she was getting ready in the morning, she accidentally used powder, talcum powder, instead of her regular blush. So she looked a little pale, but it was simply because she used the wrong color of makeup. So she went out feeling great. And someone says, "Oh my gosh, are you sick, Mary? You don't look very well." She goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." Then a couple hours later, somebody else said, "Mary, you look ill. Oh my gosh." She says, "No, I'm fine." But then her head started spinning. Her wheels started turning. She goes, "Oh my God, maybe I am sick. That person said I was sick at breakfast. Now this person's saying I'm sick." Then she went into work and her coworker said, "Oh my gosh, you look like a ghost. Like you're sick. You need to go home." So at that point, she has been completely inundated with fear because of all these people. And she ended up going home and getting a headache. Because when we first plant the seed that we don't feel good, or, there's a real thing of psychosomatic illnesses. Not that all of our illnesses are that, but Elsie Lincoln Benedict is using it as an example. When other people tell you something, they suggest something that you don't want to be true. For example, I was using, it's cold and flu season, so they say. And people just expect to get it every year. I don't, and I don't. Of course, I've gotten like a little sniffle here and there, but I never get sick, knock on wood, but I really don't. I really don't. Because I don't engage in those conversations. Is that why I don't get sick? I don't know. But like Dr. Thurman Fleet says, the mind model, we can really use our mind to heal our bodies and just to heal quicker. So we can be sick. We can get sick. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with us, like we're thinking negatively. But it sure does help us through the process if we are. We can either be sick and miserable or sick and grateful. Okay? So she was talking about by noon, Mary went home and she was sick. She had a headache by 4 o'clock. Let me bring this microphone closer. Here we go. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. There we go. Okay. Elsie continues on. She says, on the other hand, the next time you get up feeling a little shaky or headachy, do as a friend of mine does in such cases. First, take special pains with your appearance. So she's saying, pay special attention to your appearance that day. If you wake up feeling like garbage or like poo-poo, she says, put a little extra oomph when you get ready. Okay. This is not absolutely necessary if you are very strong-minded, but rebuilding your life, as in doing anything else, give yourself every chance. Make it as easy and pleasant for yourself as possible while you go along. So she's saying that if you are feeling a little extra tired, a little sick, a little under the weather, and you still have to get up and do your thing, like I do this. I put like red lipstick on, or I will put bright lipstick on, and I will like pick my favorite shirt or something. And when I look good, I feel good. And so I'll do my hair extra or something. It just makes me feel better. So that's what she's saying. If you're strong-minded, you don't need to do that. But if, you feel a little crappy physically, like start to raise your, wear your favorite jewelry, put a different perfume on, switch it up, something you really love, to make yourself feel better. It can help. All right. This friend of mine is pretty strong-minded herself, but she says that when her acquaintances declare how unusually fine she looks that day, it prevents the right attitude. It prevents the right attitude from wobbling. So her friend, that if she ever wakes up feeling a little groggy. She takes extra care of herself, looking, getting herself ready for the day, because she says that when people around her declare how fine she's looking, it really keeps her positive attitude intact. It keeps it from wobbling. Of course, she does other things besides dress up and take pains with her hair and face. She keeps the door of her mind tightly shut. Every little old ache, when any old ache comes a knockin', and she constantly tells herself how good she feels. I just caught myself today repeating the words. I'm so tired, or I feel tired. I'm not going to do that anymore. I need to stop saying that. I will stop saying that. If you catch me saying that, slap me. When she gets to the office, she takes up some matter that calls for real concentration, something that will pull her mind away from herself. By noon, her headache is gone, and she doesn't even know when she missed it. In a later session, in a later lesson, I will tell you exactly how to cure much more insidious ailments than headaches, and in another, just how to treat your subconscious to induce it to do your hard work easily and quickly. But the above stories will suffice to remind you of similar things in your own experience, which will help you see that we have a lot to do with what comes to us. We have everything to do with what comes to us. To the pessimist, the wrong things are forever happening. To the pessimist, the wrong things are forever happening. It takes no effort to be cynical, bitter, pessimistic. It takes no effort. It's the easiest thing to do. I think I mentioned this before. One of my pet peeves, and what I do not put up with, people who are problem focused, pessimistic, negative, cynical, bitter, sarcastic. I literally protect myself from that energy. Of course, if I have to be around that, I definitely have boundaries, but I really don't surround myself with that. It's very rare. That's why I love the life that I've created for myself, because I've created it the way I want. I will not put up with those types of things. And if I do, like family members, I do that work. I do the forgiveness work. I do, because at the end of the day, it's my issue. They are who they are. They could be whatever they want. It's my thoughts about it that are bothering me. It's not them, actually. Objectively, they might be being pessimistic and negative, but it's my thoughts about them. That's my problem. They're not my problem. My thoughts about them are my problem. That I'm bothered by it is my problem. It's my issue. I'm in control of my thoughts about them. And so just transmuting it, loving them anyway, accepting them for who they are, right? Having boundaries, loving them as boundaries. It doesn't mean I have to be around them at all. But it takes no effort to be pessimistic, cynical, bitter, talk crap, gossip. It's low living, man. It's low living, low vibes. All right. To the pessimist, the wrong things are forever happening. To the optimist, come continually the right things, the helpful things, the good things. So if you ever see someone who's always lucky and things are just happening to them, watch their attitude, watch their predominant mood. How do they walk, talk, dress? How do they engage? How do they interact with other people? Are they gossiping? Are they complaining? Observe and learn. I do that all the time. If you are in the pessimist class, you have probably said, it's no job for him to be bright and smiling. I'd be a little Mary Sunshine myself if some of those nice things would happen to me. So she's using it as an example of somebody saying, ugh, why is that person smiling? Why are they so bright and smiley? I would be bright and smiley too if those things would happen to me. When I was a kid, still to this day, I'm a happy person. Like I'm positive. My cup runneth over, cup half full, more than half full. I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist too. And, I'm not Pollyanna by any means. I'm a very, very practical person, but I am optimistic always, because we have a choice. Why not? Because being pessimistic and negative feels like crap. And nobody got time for that. I forgot where my thought was going. It'll pop up like toast. It'll pop up like toast. Oh, I always am a positive person, right? Happy, positive. And I can't tell you, especially growing up, like being around older people or just a little older than me, but even people who mostly it was like people that were older than me that knew they like felt like they could talk down to me like, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy? Chill out, calm down a little bit. Like they thought it was fake or they thought I was putting on. I'm like, no, I'm just actually really happy. Like, oh, are you dating someone? No, I'm just happy. Like, like I don't need anything to be like I constantly fill my mind with positive things and I make sure that I focus on positive things and it makes me happy. And so it's like, when they say people are disturbed by your light when you're around them, because that's the truth. If you're the bright light, if you're happy, if you're always smiling and they're like, "Oh, shut the curtains. Shut the curtains. Oh, turn the volume down." They just want to be in their dark room where it's nice and cozy and they're miserable and they don't like the bright sun. They're like, "Close the curtains, get out of here. Get the light out of here." I really was like, "Oh my God, maybe there's something wrong with me. I have to dim my light. Maybe I'm stupid, right?" Like those thoughts did cross my mind, but not anymore. All right, so this person's saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is he so happy about? I would be happy too if I had his luck." And some friend of yours defends you with, "Poor man, you can't blame him for being a grouch. Why, just one thing after another goes wrong with his plans." It is the long sustained, persistently encouraged point of view that determines the kinds of things that come your way. So, really listen to this. It is the long sustained, persistently encouraged point of view that determines the kinds of things that come your way. So, what is your POV? What is your point of view on the world? What is your point of view on your life? What is your point of view on your health? What is your point of view on people? What is your point of view on your neighbors? What is your point of view on your country? What is your point of view on food? Like, you got a nasty point of view? Are you complaining about it, mad about it, angry about it, offended by it? Like, that all might be, you might have evidence for it, but is it helping you? Are you at peace? Can you choose another way? Can you choose another perspective that makes you feel better? Because I guarantee you right now, whatever you're upset about, nobody cares. Like, truly. My coach told me that. Like, no, I think it was actually, I was in like CCD, like when you go to catechism when you're younger. Like, nobody cares what you think truly because they're thinking about themselves. And although we do listen to each other and sometimes like value our points of view, like at the end of the day, nobody cares. Like they might agree with you. Like you can get together with people who have the same viewpoints, but at the end of the day, your subconscious mind only knows you. And so if you're thinking crappy thoughts or negative thoughts or angry thoughts, you're just hurting yourself. In our workshop, one of the ladies, I think her name, Jennifer, I think, we were talking about how our subconscious mind does not know anybody but ourselves and how we really hurt our nervous system by remaining angry or anxious or whatever. And there was a book she mentioned, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers or something, just like how animals know how to not hold on to like ruminate and worry thoughts. Because when we hold these low level angry thoughts for a long period of time, it breaks down our body's immune system, our energy level, our life force. It affects our blood pressure, our heart rate. We can get ulcers, headaches, tight jaw, grind our teeth at night. Yeah, it's your psychology becomes your biology. Your psychology becomes your physiology. What you think has a big effect and a big impact on your physical body, on your energy level, how you feel. So it's so important to protect your mind, truly. So it is in the long sustained, persistently encouraged point of view that determines the kinds of things that come your way. Write about face today. About face. Turn it around today. Try the optimist's outlook and see. You can sincerely and honestly apply the optimist's methods and become an optimist yourself. No matter how pessimistic you have been up to now, if instead of calling the optimist a poor fool who is jollying himself along, You will let me suggest this little but mighty thought to you. The pessimist sees things at short range, the optimist at long range. The pessimist sees a limited area of a thing, while the optimist sees it in its entirety. The pessimist sees only a part, that part which is nearest and most immediate. That's the truth. It's like the pessimist sees the obvious, like, yeah, no shit. Any ding dong can see that. The problem. Anybody can see a problem. It takes an optimist to see beyond it into a solution. I remember Bob Proctor always used to say, any dumbbell can tell you what's wrong. Like any, I don't want to be nasty, any ding dong can point out what's wrong, can see a problem, can complain about something. But they don't take it to the next level and say, okay, I wonder how we can remedy this or how I might suggest something different. It takes an optimist, solution focused, creator mode instead of victim, me, look at all the things that are wrong. I just have zero tolerance for that shenanigans. And as I get older, I don't care. It might sound harsh and I might be a B word, but I don't care. Like 2025, I'm joking. Like, I'm not joking. It's my year of freedom. I'm like, I'm living my William Wallace era. Unapologetically. Unapologetically. I have zero tolerance for pessimism, cynicism, sarcasm. You know, sarcasm, I remember when I was a part of a theater group and the acting coach was telling them or telling us the word sarcasm means splitting of the flesh. It means when you sarcasm, there's a definition that's like you can't pick a side. Like you're too coward to pick an opinion, so you're sarcastic. And that rang so true for me. I'm like, yeah, that's what sarcastic people are. They're like chicken shits. Like they don't have the balls to really say what they think, so they're sarcastic. I hate sarcasm, if you couldn't tell. Being funny is totally different than sarcasm. And sarcastic people think they're funny and you're not. And you're not. You're not. All right. You can sincerely and honestly apply the optimist's methods and become an optimist yourself, no matter how pessimistic you've been in the past. If instead of calling the optimist a poor fool who's jolling himself along, you will let me suggest this little but mighty thought to you. Okay, so let's read this list again. I'm going to get this right. The pessimist sees things short range, optimist, long range, pessimist, limited area of a thing, optimist, its entirety. The pessimist sees only a part, the part that's nearest and most immediate and obvious, Captain Obvious. But the optimist sees the whole of a thing, the ultimate, including its insignificance in his own life. That is so true. It's like pessimists take things personal and think it's the end of the world, doom and gloom, chicken little, the sky is falling. Optimists is like, this too shall pass. It's two very different ways of life. And you are like, we are all on one side of the road or the other, and to different varying degrees, but like pick a side, as my friend Jim Williams says, pick a side or you're going to get run over. Like you pick this side of the road, this side of the road, don't stand in the middle because you're going to get run over. Like there really is no such thing as neutral. As A Course in Miracles says, there is no neutral thought. Every thought you have has power. Every single thought you have has power, creative power. You are creating with every thought you think. And if you aren't thinking consciously, what are you creating? It's like the equivalent to not being vigilant and consciously aware, or even just doing even 5 minutes of work a day. It's not like all day, but trying to, as much as you can, pay attention to just even your breathing, conscious awareness of your body. How are you feeling? If we don't do that, it's like driving a car with the windshield blacked out and we wonder why we keep crashing. And I'm so passionate about that because that was me. I used to crash for like a good 15, 20 years, and it's not cute. It's a painful way to live. And I was resentful and angry and bitter and prideful and entitled and ugh, victim mode. And if you would have asked me, I would have never admitted that. But it's like when you really start studying this, it's like you get humility. It's like, oh shit. Like when you take full responsibility for what you're doing, it's like, I got a slap in the face of like humble pie. And I'm like, wow, I'm very prideful because the opposite of pride is humility. I was not humble. I was always trying to like flex, like, oh, I know that, blah, blah, blah. Or not admitting that I needed help or wanted to improve or I didn't want to be seen like I was working on something because I wanted to be seen as perfect. Uh, like, so I was in pride, then I got slapped into humility. I was entitled. Most people are. I guarantee you, we are all entitled, by the way. I feel entitled to the lights that are on. I feel entitled to this Wi-Fi. It goes out. You better believe I'll have a tantrum. Like, I feel entitled to things just because I'm used to it. Going into my kitchen, switching on the light, I feel entitled. That light better go on. I pay the bill. Running water, hot and cold. I'm entitled to water. I live in the United States. I pay my gas bill. I should get hot and cold. Like, I'm entitled to it. Yes, I pay for it, but I'm not entitled to anything, right? I'm not entitled to tomorrow, waking up tomorrow. I hope I do. But it's like I had this entitlement. The opposite of entitlement is gratitude. How about I'm more grateful every time I turn on the water? My God, I'm so grateful. I'm running water, fresh running water. I get hot and cold shower. Oh, every time I'm in the hot shower, oh my God, I'm so grateful. My sheets, my bed, just gratitude. What's the other one? Gratitude, humility. I'll think of the other one. But those are the big ones. Oh, victim. I was a victim. I was angry. I thought the world, God, the universe, like, I'm a hard worker. I'm a good person. I was meant for something more, and life just isn't working out. Life isn't fair, just like this guy. And I became the opposite of a victim as a creator. I became the creator of my life, understanding we're all the creator, by the way, we create our life, but you just do it consciously, right? We're all driving our lives, but we're either like looking through a clean windshield or it's blacked out and we're crashing. We cannot diminish the power of our minds. Our minds are powerful and they're on 24/7. It's just where are they headed? It's like the car is going full speed. It's not like a choice we make. Like personal development, spiritual development, it's not a choice we make. We're always moving forward. The car is always moving. It's always running. It's always on the freeway. It's either we are hanging out, drinking in the trunk, and the car is a weaving, or we are like, oh shit, this car is moving. I better get in the seat and start driving it. And metaphorically, obviously, we see people who are like, have you ever actually been on the road or the freeway and like someone's like been drinking and driving or they're like falling asleep at the wheel, unfortunately, and they're just bobbing it, they're unsafely driving. They're not paying attention or they're eating or they're on the phone or doing mascara or fighting with somebody and they are not consciously driving. It's very dangerous. But that's the same for our lives. In our lives, if we are not consciously driving our mind, we are bumping around energetically, always fighting with people, having bad relationships. Shit's happening to us. We're always sick. We're complaining like, ugh, our sandwich is always made wrong. Like, that's the equivalent, the energetic psychological equivalent, which comes out in results in our life. It's so powerful. I'm on a good one this year. I'll tell you what. What is it? January 5th? Like, I am really having strong boundaries. I have no tolerance for doubt, uncertainty, negativity, insecurity. No more. I invite you to take up arms as well. And it's not against anybody else, it's against my own limiting beliefs. Napoleon Hill in The Science of Personal Achievement talks about how people say, well, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? You know, if I do this, if I make a change, what will they think? What do they say? And he goes, who's they? In all my studies, I've never found out who they are. There is no they. Even the voices in our heads, our inner critic, like when we're trying to go after our goals, all the negative voices come in. That's the they. It's inside the house. The call's coming from inside the house. It's not out here. Yeah, this is good. Okay. So that was the difference between the pessimist and the optimist. Let's read just a couple more lines. I'm trying to get to bed early. Yeah, this too shall pass, he says, in the hour of sorrow, the optimist. This too shall pass. It doesn't amount to anything, anyhow. Who do I care? What do I care? He says when people slander him. So the optimist, I believe. It doesn't amount to anything, anyhow. What do I care? He says if people slander him, say bad things, like it's none of my business what they say about me. The difference between the pessimist and the optimist, someone once said, is that the optimist sees the donut, but the pessimist sees the whole. That's hilarious. You know those people who are always like, oh, they're trying to rip me off, they're trying to cheat me. Ugh. So I love that. I've heard that before. The optimist sees the donut, but the pessimist sees the whole. One thing we know, no pessimist ever built a healthy, happy, or helpful life. That's the truth. God bless them. Let's really listen to that. One thing we know, no pessimist has ever built a healthy, happy, or helpful life. Get out of town with the pessimists. And you know what? Let us pray. Let us pray for the pessimist. God bless them because, our attitudes and our thoughts were programmed into us from environment. So all jokes aside, when people are upset, angry, grumpy, um, I have boundaries, but also I send them love, right? A lack of love when people are acting unloving is a call for love. They need loving. They need some loving. And I might not be the person to give it to them, right? But I will in my mind see them happy, try to, and have boundaries. But the way people act, their behavior is just a reflection of what's going on in their mind. Can you imagine if they're acting like that? What's going on within them, right? If they're acting ugly and mean, that's how they feel inside, So all jokes aside, it really is sad. But I'm not joking when I say I have boundaries and it's my pet peeve. Okay. So one thing we know, a pessimist has never built a healthy, happy, or helpful life, and smile at him as you will, the optimist does all the time. Oh. Oh, as a smile as you, because the optimist does. An optimist always builds a healthy, happy, and helpful life. He need not have the most brilliant mind, the best education, or the deepest intellect. He has something better than all of them put together, and for the attainment of which all the others exist. Wisdom. Before we go into the moods which are to bring you to the specific things you want, do this much for yourself. Look at your secret tendency and find out whether you are predominantly an optimist or predominantly a pessimist. So let's really do that right now when I sip my tea. Let's really just look at and remember, pessimism isn't always like angry. It could just be like always disappointed. Nothing's ever going to work out for me. I'm too old. That's only for those types of people. Just being pessimistic. Like shutting off any option for a possibility. But let's be honest. And you might be very optimistic when it comes to love and relationships, but very pessimistic when it comes to money. You can have different beliefs in different areas, but we have to clean it all up. So let's take inventory. All right. Let's look at our secret tendency and find out whether we're predominantly an optimist or predominantly a pessimist. If you are an optimist, so much the better. If you are a pessimist, the very recognition and admission of it to yourself will help you, for it will diagnose part of your case, and diagnosis is the first step towards the cure. Ain't that the truth? The optimist builds for himself a heaven on earth, and the pessimist a hell. You take your choice by choosing which one of these moods shall hold sway in your innermost heart, and then by being loyal to that choice regardless of what happens. So choose if you're going to live in heaven or hell internally, and just stay loyal to that choice. I'm going to remain in heaven. I'm only going to have loving, positive, forgiving, compassionate thoughts today. For remember, it is not true that your moods are really made by what happens to you outside. So the way you feel is not because of what's happening out here. Listen, Linda, what is happening out here does not dictate your mood in here. A lot of people let it. We're trained to let what's going on out here dictate our moods. And you'll say, Carla, yes, it does. Look at how they're acting. Look what happened. They're blah, blah, blah. They cheated on me. All this stuff. Of course I'm going to feel this way. No, that's the big lie we're told. Our moods, how we feel, how you feel in your heart is not because of what's happening out here on any level. It's because of your thoughts about what's happening out here. And it could be a fact and objectively true that it is not pleasant. It is bad. But, and I'm not saying to like put a yellow smiley face over it, but how can we get through it with the most positive or more a helpful thought? Because again, when things happen out here, it takes zero effort to just be like, oh, that's shitty. What a bad day. Oh, I'm just being negative. But we suffer from that. So remember, it is not true that your moods are really made by what happens to you. What happens to you in the by and large of your life is manufactured in the back room of your tailor shop, your subconscious mind, as we talked about yesterday. So let me put this into context. In the by and large of your life is manufactured in your subconscious mind by the moods you permit to dwell there. So let me break it down even further. Everything that happens in your life is because of how you feel. You don't feel that way because of what happens in your life. Most people live like that. We mostly live from the outside in. We do feel this way because of what's happening out here. And then we're a victim to what's happening out here. When all of this gets fixed up, when they get their crap together, when I get the things that I deserve out here, then I'll feel better. That's playing Russian roulette with life. But when you remain unmoved and you take your power back, I remain unmoved no matter what happens. I stay positive. I stay optimistic. I see the solutions. Life is going to happen. Who do I think I am to think I'm going to get through life without anything bad happening? Who do we think we are? It's getting humble. It's getting humble. And having gratitude. There are two worlds, the seen and the unseen. We think of the seen as the most real, but it is really only the coat worn by the unseen. A coat that changes as the inner world produces happiness or wretchedness, success or failure, health or disease. Cause is always more significant than effects. Cause is always more significant than effects, for it is the creator of them. Thought is cause. Results are effect. If we want the effects to change, we have to go to the cause. But when we're not happy with the effects, we get all pissed and try to get out here, and it makes us more mad. It's just like the metaphor of sitting in a theater. You're sitting in a theater all by yourself, and there's the projector up at the top. Okay, let's not do that yet. You're in the seat. I'm in the theater. And up there, pretend that chandelier, my fake green screen chandelier. My chandelier is where the projector is, the movie projector, and the light is shining, flickering right onto the screen in front of me. And there is a film in that projector, and it's a comedy. So they plug the projector in, the light goes on, they put the film in, and there goes the comedy. Boom, I'm looking at a comedy. But what if there was no tape in the projector, but it was plugged in and there's just a white light shining? Boom, on the screen, it's just white, blank. There's nothing in the projector. That's like us. But we always have something in the projector. We always have something in the projector. Our conscious awareness is the light in the projector. Boop, and it is on 24/7. Our thoughts are the film. And they go in front of that light and it gets projected out onto our world. What thoughts are you allowing to get right? Light thoughts, the light goes through your thought, boom, and gets pushed out here. What thoughts are you allowing in the projector? What thoughts are you projecting onto this world, the screen of the world? And if we're honest with ourselves, think about your job, or if you're retired, think about neighbors or just any groups you've ever been a part of. There are, say, 100 people in a same group, in a same company, and they have 100 different points of view because they think differently. And that's why it's so important to have a philosophy of success that works. That's why Napoleon Hill and all of his works, Think and Grow Rich, they work. They work. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so there are two worlds, the seen and the unseen. We think of the seen as the most real, but it's really only the coat worn. It's only really the projection of the unseen. And the seen changes as the inner world, as the tapes and the thoughts produce whatever it does. Something else came to me and it'll pop up like toast. So there are two worlds, the seen and the unseen. We think of the seen as the most real, but it is only the coat worn by the unseen. A coat that changes as, oh, I remember, I always remember. See, that's one of my affirmations. I always remember what I was going to say. Okay, so where's my gold hand mirror? I don't have it right now, but this is another mirror that I have. The mirror here. I don't know where it was hanging. Anyways, so imagine, right? This is me. Can you see? Okay. So I'm looking in a mirror. This is the world, right? These are my thoughts. And I'm mad. And I'm looking at my reflection and she's mad. And I'm saying, I will not smile until this reflection smiles. Until this outside world changes. I don't like what I'm seeing right now. I do not like what I'm seeing right now. And until you change, I won't change. This will not change. This will not change until I change. So, oh my God, it changed. Wow. I love what I see now. Yay. It's like the world is a mirror, right? I have to remind myself of that. I have to change. You have to change. Even if it's shitty, even if it's crappy. We change and then this changes, or our experience of it changes, right? Because again, we can't control other people, but we can only control the way we experience them. This is so good. Okay, we'll leave off there. It's late. I hope you enjoyed that. We will continue. So I believe this was video 14. We will continue with video 15 tomorrow. If you want to see all of the rest and just read along with me, I have this as a playlist on YouTube under Elsie, Leek, and Benedict, How to Get Anything You Want. And enjoy. I am on my, let's see. When did I start this channel? Like fall of 2020. So we just hit 4 years. And if you like Neville Goddard, of course, I do A Course in Miracles, Science of Getting Rich, As a Man Thinketh, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. There's a lot of books on there. And I'm just doing videos every day. So if you want to learn with me and hear my perspective, enjoy. And if it doesn't resonate, that's okay. That's okay. Always know that there is no right way. There is no one way. Nobody knows it all. I speak from my personal experience. And if it helps you in any way, fabulous. But it's on you individually. And I really encourage you to build your own philosophy of life. There's something that I say that is helpful. There's something another teacher that says that is helpful. Take it and make it your own. Like, put your own spin on it. How does it resonate with you? And start teaching your philosophy, even just embodying it, right? The way you move and walk through life. Like, you are a teacher. You're an influencer, whether you know it or not. You're influencing people when you go to the grocery store. You're influencing people when you drive. You're influencing your family, your children, your partner. Like, we are all responsible for the way we show up in this world. Unless you wouldn't be watching this video. I was going to say, unless you're in the Himalayas and, living a life by yourself, but you're not if you're watching this. You are an influence in this world. And if you want to make this world a better place, it starts with you first, right? All right. Until mañana, I will see you all. Have a wonderful week. Tomorrow's Monday.